Her husband uncovered a secret powerful men would kill to protect, and days later, he was found dead. Now, hunted through a deadly mountain blizzard, a grieving widow collapses in the snow just as a mysterious mountain man steps out of the storm and points his rifle at her pursuers. But when the truth about her husband's murder finally comes to light, an even darker betrayal changes everything. Want to know what happens next? Watch the full video till the end and follow our page for more unforgettable frontier stories. Before we start the story, tell me in the comments, where are you listening from and what time is right now? A bitter wind swept through the Bitterroot Mountains, carrying snow across the endless white wilderness of the Montana Territory. Winter ruled the land with a cruel hand in 1883, and anyone caught alone in these mountains was often never seen again. Clara Jennings stumbled through the deep snow, her legs trembling with exhaustion. Every breath burned her lungs, every step felt heavier than the last. Her wool coat was torn and stained with soot and dried blood. Her boots were soaked through, and her fingers had gone numb hours ago. Yet she kept moving, because stopping meant dying, and because somewhere behind her, men were hunting her. 3 nights earlier, Clara had been a wife with a home, a future, and a husband she loved more than anything. Now she had nothing. Nothing except the truth. The truth had started with water. Clara and her husband Thomas Jennings owned a small homestead outside the silver mining town of Bannock. They weren't wealthy, but they were happy. Thomas was an honest man, strong, hard-working, the kind of man who believed that if you worked hard and treated people fairly, life would eventually reward you. He was wrong. One afternoon, Thomas discovered that powerful businessman Harlan Caldwell was secretly diverting water away from local farms. The stolen water was being used for an illegal mining operation hidden in the valley. Thomas gathered evidence, ledgers, property records, bribery payments, names, dates, proof. He believed the law would help him. He rode into town to report everything. He never came home. The next morning, Sheriff Amos Boyd arrived at Clara's porch. The sheriff removed his hat and lowered his eyes. There was an accident. Clara's heart sank. What happened? A herd of wild mustangs got spooked. Thomas was trampled. The sheriff spoke calmly, too calmly. Something felt wrong. Hours later, Clara found her husband's body before it could be buried. The bruises told a different story. Broken ribs, a smashed jaw, marks from fists. Thomas hadn't been trampled. He had been beaten to death. When Clara demanded justice, every door closed. The judge ignored her. The sheriff dismissed her. The town looked away. Everyone was afraid of Harlan Caldwell. Caldwell owned the mines, the bank, the saloons. Most importantly, he owned the people who enforced the law. Then came the fire. Late one night, Clara awoke to smoke. Flames surrounded the barn. The doors had been locked from the outside. Someone wanted her dead. She escaped through a rear window and fled into the darkness, carrying only Thomas's hidden ledgers sewn inside her coat. Now she was running for her life. A shout echoed through the mountains. "There she is!" Clara froze. Fear shot through her chest. She looked back. 2 riders emerged from the storm. Levi Higgins, Caldwell's chief enforcer, the most feared man in Bannock, and another tracker beside him. Clara tried to run. Her legs gave out. She collapsed into the snow. Tears froze on her cheeks. This was the end. She closed her eyes. Then a rifle exploded somewhere in the mountains. Boom! The sound echoed like thunder. A tree branch crashed down in front of the riders. Their horses screamed and reared backward. Clara's eyes snapped open. A tall figure emerged from the storm. He looked like part of the mountain itself, over 6 feet tall, broad shoulders, heavy wolf-skin cloak, dark beard, weathered Stetson hat, and in his hands rested a massive Sharps rifle. "That's far enough, Levi." The stranger's voice rolled across the snow like distant thunder. Levi sneered. "This ain't your business, Rourke." The giant calmly loaded another cartridge. "Turn around." Levi drew his revolver. Big mistake. The rifle fired. The revolver exploded from Levi's hand. He screamed and fell into the snow. The stranger lowered the smoking rifle. "Next one goes through your chest." Silence followed. The younger tracker immediately grabbed Levi and dragged him onto his horse. Seconds later, both men disappeared into the storm. The giant turned toward Clara. For the first time, she saw his eyes. Pale blue, cold as winter, yet somehow filled with sadness. "You're safe now." His voice had softened. Clara tried to speak. Darkness swallowed her before she could. When Clara awoke, warmth surrounded her. A fire crackled nearby. The smell of stew filled the room. She slowly opened her eyes. A small log cabin. Fur blankets, wooden walls, a cast-iron stove. For a moment she wondered if she had died. Then she saw him. The mountain man sat beside the fire sharpening a knife. Without the wolfskin cloak, he looked less like a legend and more like a weary warrior. A long scar ran down his neck. His hands were rough and powerful. "You've been asleep for 2 days." Clara blinked. 2 days? He nodded. "Fever nearly killed you." She sat up too quickly and winced. Pain shot through her ribs. The mountain man stood and brought her a bowl of stew. "Eat." She accepted it. The food tasted like heaven. After days of hunger, every spoonful felt like life returning to her body. "My name is Clara Jennings." "Gideon Rourke." For the next hour, Clara told him everything. Thomas, the murder, the corruption, the ledgers, the fire, the pursuit. When she finished, silence filled the cabin. Finally, Gideon stood and walked to the window. "The law won't save you." Clara looked down. She already knew that. "It's all I have." "No." He turned toward her. "All you have is the truth." Something in his voice made her look up. Gideon's face darkened. 10 years ago, I wore a badge in Texas." Clara stared. "You were a lawman?" "Once." His eyes drifted toward the fire. "A powerful cattle baron wanted my brother's land. The court sided with him. My brother refused to leave." His jaw tightened. "They shot him in the back." Clara's heart broke for him. "What happened?" "I tried to arrest the killers." His laugh held no humor. "The law fired me." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Clara reached out and touched his hand. The huge mountain man froze, as if nobody had touched him gently in years. "They won't stop hunting me," Clara whispered. Gideon's fingers slowly closed around hers. "Let them come." His voice carried the certainty of stone. For the first time since Thomas died, Clara felt safe. Weeks passed. Outside, winter raged. Inside the cabin, something changed. Clara healed. Gideon taught her how to survive, how to track, how to hunt, how to shoot. "Don't aim to wound," he told her one afternoon while teaching her to use a Winchester rifle. His arms gently adjusted her stance. "If you pull the trigger, commit." She nodded. The rifle cracked. The target shattered. A smile crossed Gideon's face. The sight made Clara's heart flutter. At night, they sat beside the fire. They talked, laughed, shared stories. Slowly, the loneliness inside both of them began to disappear. Clara caught herself watching him chop wood, watching him read, watching him smile. And Gideon found himself looking for excuses to stay near her. Neither spoke about it. Neither needed to. The feelings were obvious. Then winter began to fade, and danger returned. One evening, Gideon suddenly stopped while carrying firewood. His eyes narrowed. He smelled gun oil, horses, men. Caldwell found us. Clara's blood ran cold. The attack came moments later. Gunfire exploded from the trees. Wood splintered. Windows shattered. 4 hired killers emerged from the forest, led by former Pinkerton tracker Josiah Galt. The battle was brutal. Gideon fought like a force of nature. His Sharps rifle dropped one attacker instantly. His revolvers dropped another. But the enemy kept advancing. Then a bullet tore through Gideon's thigh. He stumbled. Clara's heart nearly stopped. A gunman raised a shotgun, aimed directly at Gideon. Without thinking, Clara smashed open a window and leveled her Winchester. She remembered Gideon's words. Commit. She pulled the trigger. The attacker dropped instantly. Gideon looked toward her. Pride filled his eyes. Moments later, he overwhelmed Galt in a vicious hand-to-hand fight. The attack ended. The clearing fell silent. Clara ran outside. She crashed into Gideon's arms. For a moment, neither moved. Then Gideon gently lifted her chin. His eyes searched hers. You brave fool. Before she could answer, he kissed her. The kiss carried weeks of fear, hope, longing, love. And Clara kissed him back. That night they made a decision. Running would never end. Caldwell would keep sending men. The only way to stop him was to confront him, together. 2 days later they rode into Bannock. Under cover of darkness they began their plan. Clara cut the town's telegraph lines. Gideon moved toward Caldwell's office. Everything was going perfectly, until Sheriff Amos Boyd captured Clara. The sheriff dragged her into Caldwell's office. Only then did he reveal the truth. I killed your husband. Clara felt her world stop. Boyd. He wouldn't take the bribe. The office door opened. Gideon stepped inside. Immediately he found Clara held hostage. Caldwell smiled from behind his desk. Drop your guns. To save Clara, Gideon obeyed. But Caldwell made one mistake. He thought Gideon was helpless. The mountain man still had a hunting knife hidden inside his boot. When Boyd aimed his revolver, Gideon moved. The knife flashed across the room. It buried itself in Boyd's shoulder. The sheriff, "Ah!" At the same moment, Clara drew the hidden derringer Gideon had given her. She pressed it against Boyd's stomach. This is for Thomas. She fired. Boyd collapsed. Caldwell lunged for his pistol. Too late. Gideon grabbed his revolvers and fired. The Silver Baron crashed into his chair. Ah! The fight was over. Years of fear ended in seconds. Clara stood over the man who had destroyed her life. Caldwell offered gold, promised wealth. Neither of them cared. The next morning, Clara handed Thomas's ledgers to a federal marshal. The evidence destroyed Caldwell's empire, his mines, his bribery, his corruption. Everything collapsed. For the first time in years, justice finally won. A few days later, Clara stood at the edge of town. The mountains rose in the distance. Beautiful, wild, free. Gideon waited beside 2 saddled horses. He looked at her quietly. The snow was melting. Clara smiled. The valleys will bloom soon. Gideon handed her the reins. Their fingers touched. The same spark passed between them. The same feeling that had begun beside a fire in a lonely mountain cabin. Clara looked toward the distant peaks, the place where she had nearly died, the place where she had found love, found strength, found herself. Then she looked at Gideon. "Take me home." A warm smile appeared beneath his beard. Together they rode toward the mountains, leaving corruption behind, leaving pain behind, and riding toward a future neither had believed was possible. The mountain man who had lost faith in the world, and the brave widow who had brought justice back to the frontier. Side by side, at last they were free. Thank you so much for watching this story all the way till the end. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. It really helps us a lot. If you want to watch more exciting stories like this, don't forget to subscribe our page right now. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening from and what time is right now? And if this story touched your heart, please send some stars. Every single star gives us huge motivation to keep creating more amazing videos for you. See you in the next story. Take care of you, friends.